Hey everybody, I'm Mr. P and I'm here with Dr. Blass. Dr. Blass, how's it going?
All right. Hello. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. We were just saying you're another staff member that lives really close by. I mean, I walk my dog by your house all the time, but Zoom meetings have this feeling like we're on the other side of the world, right?
That's right.
You said you saw a couple of these, so you know that I ask everyone the same question to start out. What did you have for dinner last night?
Fish.
I mean, that's a broad category. Would you care to be more specific?
It was some kind of fried white fish.
I'm
Cod,
getting
I think.
cod. All right.
Yeah.
Any sides?
Green beans, mashed potatoes.
Thank you. Did your wife cook or did you make it?
No, it was anniversary dinner, so we got takeout.
I forgot. Happy anniversary.
Thank you.
How many years?
31.
That's incredible. Good for you.
We wouldn't have had 32 if she had to cook, so.
Where did you get takeout from?
It was her pick, so Red Lobster.
Very nice. Very nice. I was just saying to somebody yesterday, we've done our fair share of getting food, from takeout. But when this is all over, I need like a big, we're going out. I'm sure everybody feels that way. We're gonna find somewhere to go and go out for a nice meal. Do you want to know what I had?
Sure.
I had a takeout from Mama Marie's.
Okay.
Hey, they owe me money with all the plugs I've been giving them because it just seems like we're getting there a lot. They do this thing on Thursday night where they give a nice dinner to go. It was like a grilled chicken with sort of grilled peppers and onions over ziti with a salad. It was very nice.
And we saw that, but she was in the mood for seafood. So.
Right. I understand. We're having seafood tonight. We're going to have salmon.
Okay.
That's a little hot tip for tomorrow. So how are you doing? What's going on? What are you doing to keep busy besides schoolwork?
I'm way ahead in my yard work.
That's good. That's one of us.
Thing. That's about all I do then beyond,
Do you find that you're doing things like that just to keep busy, or was it this weight on you that now you have a lot of time and you can get it done?
Yeah, I think it's more that, wow, it's those things that I should be doing normally that now I have the time to do it.
I said, I actually, in a weird way, while we've been home, enjoy days where the weather is less than ideal. If it's a rainy day, it's like, what can you do? I was about to go outside and build a new patio, but I guess I can't. I'll have to wait. And then the nice days, something else happens that I weasel out of it,
Right.
Are you consuming any types of pop culture? Would you care to share a book that you're reading or a TV show that you're watching?
I did read a book on 1918 pandemic. I thought I should.
Did you have that in your possession or did you order it?
No, I ordered it on the Kindle.
Okay.
Just to compare the two pandemics. And then I'm rereading one from, 25 years ago on immigrants and their experience with, the heck's it called? Something about dealing with them and pandemics, or the perception that immigrants bring disease is the premise of the book. So.
And you like it?
Yeah. It had this disease theme going for book-wise.
Of course, you're the staff member. Everybody else is like watching Netflix shows and kicking their feet up. You're reading history books.
Well, 2 in the 6 weeks. So that's. But I wouldn't normally get to read during the school year.
I should have saved you for the end. You're making the rest of us look bad. Everybody else has to compete with this bar now. Dr. Blass is doing yard work and reading history. What are you doing for fun? What do you do to let your hair down?
The yard work is actually the fun part. Although I probably should do the more, exercise type thing of walking and things.
I'm sure you get it in with the yard work.
We've done the usual family things. I think we've done about 6 puzzles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Game nights once or twice a week.
Okay.
A lot of Yahtzee seems to be the Blass go-to.
I gotcha. That's great. I know you, before we get to school and school related questions, you're in such an interesting spot as a councilman in town. So are you able to share with the students or anybody that might be watching, you know, how has COVID-19 affected your role as a political person in town?
Other than meetings, there's no difference because we're still in contact with phone. We talk to each other all the time for those matters. Meetings, we joke, are so much quicker because by Zoom, we keep
Yeah,
the agendas a lot more compact,
right.
and
Everybody's got
there's
like their kids in the other room and the TV's on
right.
and stuff like that. Yeah. Are
Yeah,
things
I
in town seem to be uh running per usual, or have things in town been impacted in any way?
little things. Like for example, I oversee public works, so bulk trash is something that isn't has not been collected the past couple months, which is a bit of an inconvenience, say for some people. But
Hmm.
at the same time, that was a recommendation not to collect it because, say, the virus lingers on surfaces.
Right.
So since that's not critical to collect, it was recommended don't have your workers collect that.
I gotcha. And as a resident, we've gotten emails saying you could still dispose of those things. You just have to bring them yourself.
Do it yourself, right?
So, okay. How about school? How's teaching going?
All right. I mean, I try my best to, I still get up. Well, I get up a little later than I used to, but I mean, I'll get up about 6:37 each day.
Again,
I'm
making
in front of
everyone
this.
else look bad.
But I'm a morning person. Always, well, you know that
Yeah,
when we
yeah.
stayed together in Florida there,
Yes.
and I'm on the computer by about quarter to eight each morning, and start answering the emails and start grading the papers. Stop about say 10 o'clock ish for a break. I joke I get to have my prep period now with my wife.
That's
You know,
nice. Lunch at home every day.
lunch at home every day. In the afternoon is more of like say the planning time rather than say on screen person. I
Right.
do realize students, surprisingly, not many of them are up at that 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I have
So I
found
had
that.
to push when I do my little talks and the lectures online a little bit later than what I had in the beginning.
Yeah, based on feedback that I've received from students doing these interviews, it appears that the midnight to 6 a.m. hours are their most productive time of day.
It is amazing how many assignments I get stamped at those hours.
Yeah,
Yes.
right. I mean, I can't believe it. What would you say is the overall? Um, how have students been doing for you? Are you impressed with their quality of work, or would you say it's been a challenge?
It was better in the beginning. I, to a certain extent, it's almost like the novelty's worn off.
Yeah.
And I think as a collective, I'll include all of us really, have fallen into the habit of there's just so much unstructured time
Hmm.
that unless you discipline yourself, that
Hmm.
this is going to be the time you're going to devote to your schoolwork, whether it's us as teachers or them as students, it's easy to fall into the trap that, oh, I got time to do it later.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've
Everybody's
had,
becoming a procrastinator.
right, I've had many start to fall behind now. Yeah, and
So would the advice that you give students to, put them in situations or a daytime routine of structure?
definitely. And I had done online classes, as a student one time years ago. And that's what I found. You have to pick a time. I usually budgeted like an hour or two, and that would be the time for that. And within there, you still got to give yourself a break. Like I figured half hour was a
Sure.
good time, and then like a 5 minutes off to run and get a drink or a snack or
Yes.
something, and then go back to it. But you had to budget that time each day.
It's interesting that a few of the students that I've talked to have said the same exact thing. And I said, if we could go back, several months and say to students, how would you like a scenario in which you get to do all of your schoolwork from home? You don't have to get dressed. You can get up whenever you want. Um, and your assignments are given to you maybe on a weekly basis, or longer periods of time. Would you take that? And they all said absolutely. But now that they're home and they have this scenario presented to them that would have been a dream several months ago, it's like they all are missing the forced structure of getting up and going to school. It's interesting.
Yeah. They don't realize how much structure we actually all like.
Exactly. Exactly. And the other thing too is, I think that once schools were canceled in New Jersey, that was a carrot that kept a lot of, if I'm being honest, I think some students felt like, well, I better have my work relatively up to date because we could be going back to school in a week or two. But now that the governor has announced that we're going to not be going back, I wonder if that carrot is no longer there, and there's a feeling of, I'm not going to see Dr. I mean, I may have to turn work in, but I may not see Dr. Blass for the rest of the school year.
See, that might work for other classes, but history's important, you know? Come
um, Students are still doing research and things like that. A couple
They
students we
are.
talked have reached out to me, and so things in that regard for you are continuing as normal, more or less, right?
Well, if there's something, the research paper, thank goodness we had, well, from a teacher's point of view, thank goodness we had started long before
Right.
this. But that's due next week. But there are some assignments, well, they don't know it, but there's some assignments they just never got because they just don't tie in very well in this format.
Yeah.
You need to be in class to do some of the things, and it just wasn't working. They don't know, they didn't get it because it wasn't going to work.
Right. Well, what would you say as a teacher is one of your biggest challenge with students currently?
If I wanted to say some of the other activity, I would have had, you'd have to give a specific time and we all have to meet. Well, that ties their hands in other aspects. Like, if they have a brother and sister, what if they have one computer at home and their brother and sister's teacher's saying that they have to meet at that time?
Right.
You want to be flexible, so I didn't want to, impede anybody else's classes.
Right.
Like, for example, when I've given 2 tests online. I sent an email out to all their teachers. I looked up everybody's other teachers and said, look, I need this hour.
Yeah.
Can anyone not line up with this hour? And got every other teacher's approval just so I could do that. So I figured I played my card with a test. I wasn't going to do that for other things.
That's interesting. How about that? Okay. And was that successful?
It was.
Okay.
You have the one or two who can't make it for other reasons, students, and then we just arrange a makeup. But
gotcha. Okay.
To do that for like all us, like, I'll call them, to be honest, we missed a couple, say, fun activities.
Mm-hmm. They're the first to go.
It really was.
That's the last thing kids need at home right now is more fun.
Yeah, no fun.
We should be making it less fun.
That's right.
How many years have you been teaching at Pitman High School?
This is my 26th year.
And thank you. And happy Teacher Appreciation Week. How many teachers in our school are you able, like, I don't want to put you on the spot, but 26 years, I'm thinking that puts you in the top 5 as far as longevity.
I think it's Mrs. Kowalski beats me.
Okay. And you would be as 2 as far as you know.
As far as I know, yeah.
Okay. In all that time, what would you say is something that makes Pitman High School so special or unique?
It's the small size because you can get the connection with the students. And they get to know you, you get to know them. I never cease to be amazed that I'll bump into former Pitman High School students, years later, that I never taught, but they'll know me, type of thing.
And just, I'm going to cut you off there for a second because we've all experienced that. I'm interested. How do you handle that? Somebody comes up to you at the supermarket. Hey, Mr. Blass, what's your reaction if in your brain you're saying, I have no idea who this person is?
If I'm lucky, I can get by without trying to remember a name once in a while. Then if it goes a little too long, sometimes I'll have to do the old, I'm sorry, I know from the school, I just can't remember. I'll try the maybe what year did you graduate type of thing, or and then once in a while you have to say, I'm sorry, I just don't remember your name.
Right. They're not offended typically in my experience. I always play the I'm going old and getting senile type card, and oh yeah, all right, now I remember you. But it is awkward, especially like yourself. We both teach and work in the same town, so we're running into people constantly, everywhere, every single place. Have you talked to any parents or people in town regarding this experience and what their feedback might be? Are parents happy? Are they frustrated? What?
Uh, I've talked to a few parents. It's well, everybody first already gets why we have to do it. That's not the issue.
Right.
It's they recognize in their own children there's such a disconnect now. I think it actually goes back to what I just said. We all enjoy the connection we have in Pitman High School or the Pitman schools in general.
Right.
The interaction with the students, the up close and personal, so to speak. And we just don't have that now.
Right.
And the unstructured time really is hurting everybody.
Mm-hmm. And I would say that even as a parent, it's interesting because, again, talking to students doing this, they are used to a school day. And obviously, you know, for most of them, their parents are working. And so coming home to dinner or after school time is the chance that students and their parents interact, whether it's at the dinner table for 5 minutes or just, you know, sitting around, those types of things. And now that we're all home together all day long, I understand students are trying to find ways to, you know, avoid their parents at all costs. They can't be in the same room all day long. I get it. It's interesting. It's such a unique social experiment that we've been forced into to
Right.
be in our house with our spouses and our children and you know, get along and make it work, you know. Finally, these parents out there are understanding what we have to deal with.
But we only have to normally deal with them 41 minutes, right? And then you shift to another group.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. But 41 minutes, you know, my guess would be some of the parents out there can't take their children for 4 minutes. With all due respect. So this is the part of our show, Dr. Blass, where we do a bowl question. All right. I don't know if you've gotten to this point in a show, but I have 2 bowls. And in the questions are starting to get down there. I got to come up with some more. But in this bowl is all trivia related to me. And in this bowl are all famous or well-known Dewey Decimal numbers. If you pick a question out of a bowl and you get it right, I'm going to buy you lunch someday. Down the line, I'm going to put you on an IOU list and we're going to have lunch.
Okay.
All right? So which bowl would you like to choose? A question about me or a question regarding Dewey Decimal numbers?
I might do better with Dewey Decimal.
Okay, you want to do Dewey Decimal?
Yeah, let's try that.
Let's do Dewey Decimal. I love it.
Because I bet no one else picked Dewey Decimal was the other reason I was trying it.
People, I think it's fake. You know, like there's really not Dewey Decimal number questions in here, but oh, there are.
See, I
All
figured
right.
you probably enjoyed making them, so I want to give you the satisfaction
Thank
that
you.
I asked.
You'd be surprised how many people say Dewey Decimal numbers. And it's like you've personally offended me. This is my lifeblood right now. You know. Unfortunately for you, I mean, I don't want to, you know, presume this is not necessarily your forte.
So it's not a 900 level question,
It's
right?
not a 900 number. It's an 800 number. All right. 822.33 is in library land a very famous Dewey Decimal number. All right. 822.33. What do you think's in that section?
Probably something in the social sciences is my guess.
I'll give you a hint. It's not social sciences.
Oh.
It's literature. So
Ah,
I'm going to give you another hint. Because I respect that you threw yourself headlong into the Dewey Bowl here. All right. It's a famous author.
Mark Twain?
Is that your final answer?
That's my final answer.
Mark Twain is incorrect, Dr. Blass. I'm sorry. It's Shakespeare. All right. Shakespeare.
He's kind of famous.
Yeah. I mean, you know, that was, I'm going to give you a little trivia. Not that you care. Not that anybody cares. Nobody's watching at this point. 822.33 is the first Dewey number I committed to memory.
Okay.
Because of Shakespeare. It's such a big one. And at this point, I have 8 Dewey Decimal numbers memorized. I'm going to start to wrap up. Is there anything you'd care to share as far as like, what would you say is the best part about being my friend? And if you don't consider us friends, then colleague.
you're always a good person to bounce things off of, which
Okay.
which even during this quarantine, I have sent students your way. I've always
You
said
have.
that, even not just me when I've come to you to ask for advice and questions, but students, I always have to remind them. I said, that's why he's here, right? I mean, you got to go to him.
Yeah. Thank you.
And
You do.
you and I have certainly spent time together on many a senior trip now.
Yes.
And our, we're different personalities, there's no doubt, but we come to a meeting of the minds.
Yes.
You know,
I have a deep respect and admiration for you as a friend and colleague. I'm going to share a quick story. I know I've said this about you or to you several times, but upon hire at Pitman High School many moons ago, I asked Dr. Lombardo if she would mind if I went to the media center one afternoon before school started. It might have been the week before school in September. I just wanted to get the lay of the land. I had just been hired and I wanted to walk around the media center and see what it was like. And you were in there preparing yourself for the start of a new school year. You were on a computer and I think you were printing something out. And you introduced yourself to me and had a really nice conversation with me and made me feel like before I even started, like I was part of something, like I was part of the family. And you kind of, although it might be difficult in the moment, they shouldn't let this time necessarily affect their outlook on all the good things coming their way down the line. It's a blip. Dr. Blass, thank you for doing this.
Thank you for inviting me.
I really appreciate it. And, if you see me walking my dog outside your house while you're doing yard work, just wave. Because, I have a little thing with my back. You know what I mean? It could be difficult. But in all seriousness, thanks for doing this. And it was good talking to you. And we'll catch up soon.
All right. See you later.
All right. See you. Thanks.